He accepted an Apache slave. Not knowing she was the chief's daughter, Thomas Hale had lived on the edge of the desert for many years. The land was dry and hard, and the wind always seemed to blow dust into every corner of his small home. The house was made of wood and stone, and it looked tired, as if it had been through many storms. Thomas had built it with his own hands, and he had worked hard to keep it standing. He lived with his wife, Martha, and their 3 children. The children were not small anymore, but they still needed their parents. The oldest, Sarah, was 12 and always busy. She helped with the cooking and tried to keep the younger ones calm. The middle child, James, was 10 and full of questions. He asked about everything he saw. The youngest, little Anna, was only 6. She loved to run around and laugh, but she also cried easily when she was tired or hungry. Life on the frontier was never easy, but Thomas had always believed he could make it work. He was a proud man. He did not like asking for help. He believed that a person should be able to take care of their family with their own hands. But lately, things had changed. The land had been harsh that year. The rain had come late, and the crops were not growing well. The family's small farm had produced less food than usual. Thomas had tried everything he could think of. He had worked from sunrise to sunset, and he had even tried planting in different places. Still, the results were not enough. Every day, Thomas felt the weight of his family's needs pressing on his shoulders. He could see the worry in Martha's eyes. He could hear it in her voice when she spoke softly at night. She tried not to show her fear, but Thomas knew it was there. One evening, as the sun was setting and the sky turned orange, Thomas sat on the porch and watched the children play. He felt tired in a way he had never felt before. His body ached. His hands were cracked and rough. He looked out over the land and thought about the future. He knew he needed help. He needed someone who could work the fields, someone who could help care for the house, someone who could take some of the weight from his shoulders. But he did not know where to find that help. The next day, a U.S. cavalry officer rode into the small town near Thomas's home. The officer was tall and looked confident. He wore a uniform that was clean and neat, and he carried himself with the kind of pride that made people respect him. Thomas had seen him before. The officer had been traveling through the area, and Thomas had always watched him from a distance. That day, the officer stopped at Thomas's home. He stepped down from his horse and looked at the house. He looked at Thomas's family. He could see the tired faces and the empty plates. "Thomas Hale," the officer said, "I hear you are a hard-working man." Thomas stood up. He did not like the way the officer spoke, as if he already knew everything about him. But he nodded anyway.
"Yes, sir," Thomas said. The officer looked around and then spoke quietly.
"I have something that might help you. A young Apache woman was taken during a raid. She is now being held as a servant. I can offer her to you for a time. She will work for your family. You will be paid for her service." Thomas felt a strange mix of emotions. He did not like the idea of owning another person. The thought did not feel right. He knew the world was not fair, but he had always tried to treat people with respect. He had always believed that every person deserved dignity. But he also knew his family was struggling. He knew the children were hungry more often than they should be. He knew Martha was tired and worried. He knew he needed help. Thomas looked at the officer and said, "How long would she stay?" The officer shrugged. "That depends. You can keep her until your work is done, or until we need her back." Thomas thought about it for a long moment. He thought about his pride. He thought about his family. He thought about the land and the hard seasons. He thought about the future and how uncertain it felt. Finally, he said, "I will take her." The officer nodded. "Good. I will bring her tomorrow." When the officer left, Thomas felt a strange emptiness inside him. He did not feel proud of his decision. He felt ashamed, but he also felt relief. He hoped this choice would save his family from hunger. That night, Thomas did not sleep well. He kept thinking about the young woman. He wondered what she looked like. He wondered how she would feel about being taken from her home. He wondered what her life had been like. Martha noticed that Thomas was quiet. She sat beside him and touched his hand. "Are you all right?" she asked. Thomas sighed. "I do not know," he said. "I made a decision today. I am not sure if it was right." Martha looked at him with tired eyes. "We need help," she said softly. "We cannot keep going like this." Thomas nodded. He knew she was right. He knew he had done what he thought was necessary. The next day, the officer returned with the young Apache woman. She was led by a soldier and wore simple clothes. Her hair was long and dark. Her eyes were calm, but they looked tired. She did not speak at first. She did not fight. She simply walked into the yard and stood there. Thomas introduced her to his family. "This is Lena," he said. "She will help us." Lena bowed her head slightly, as if she understood. She did not speak English well. She only knew a few words, but she understood enough to know that she was expected to work. The children stared at her. They had never seen anyone like her before. They did not know what to think. Sarah looked at her with curiosity. James watched her closely. Anna, the youngest, walked up to her and smiled. Lena smiled back, but her smile did not reach her eyes. She seemed polite, but distant. She looked like someone who had learned to hide her feelings. Thomas felt a strange sadness when he saw her. He realized that she was not a tool or a machine. She was a person with thoughts and feelings. He felt guilty for not knowing her story. That night, Lena worked in the kitchen. Martha showed her how to cook. Lena watched carefully and learned quickly. She was not slow. She was not clumsy. She moved with a quiet strength. It was clear she knew how to work hard. Thomas watched her and felt a strange sense of respect. He saw how skilled she was. He saw how calm she remained, even when she was tired. He began to wonder if she had always been strong like this, or if she had learned to be strong because she had to. Over the next few weeks, Lena became part of the household. She helped in the fields, she helped in the kitchen, and she helped care for the children. She did not complain. She did not ask for anything. She simply did what she was told. Thomas noticed that Lena did not speak much. She would often sit outside and look at the sky. Sometimes she would sit quietly by the fire and listen to the sounds of the night. It was as if she was listening to something far away. One evening, Thomas asked her, "Do you miss your home?" Lena looked at him. She did not answer at first. Then she nodded slowly. She did not say anything else. Thomas felt a sharp pain in his chest. He realized how much he had taken from her. He realized that he had not thought about her feelings. He had only thought about his own needs. But he also knew something else. He knew that Lena had not given up. She had not broken. She was still there, still working, still living. She had not let the world destroy her spirit. That thought made Thomas feel both ashamed and inspired. He did not know what the future would bring, but he knew that Lena's presence had changed something in him. He began to look at his family differently. He began to see the children's faces and feel their fear. He began to understand that survival was not just about food or work. It was about respect, kindness, and trust. Thomas knew he had made a choice. He did not know if it was the right choice, but he knew he had to try to do better. He had to treat Lena as a person, not as a tool. And he had to prepare for the days ahead, because he had a feeling that Lena's story was not finished, and that the future would bring a truth that would change everything. The days passed slowly, but they also moved faster than Thomas expected. Lena became part of the Hale family's daily life. She woke early, worked all day, and went to bed late. She never complained. She simply did what she was asked, and she did it well. The children began to trust her, even though they still did not fully understand her. Sarah liked to watch Lena work. She admired the way Lena handled the kitchen and the way she cared for the younger children. Sarah had always wanted to be strong, and she saw something in Lena that she wished she could have. Sometimes, when no one was looking, Sarah would try to copy Lena's calm and quiet strength. James, on the other hand, was curious in a different way. He wanted to know everything about Lena. He asked questions, but Lena did not answer most of them. When she did answer, she spoke only a few words in English. But James kept asking. He would ask about her home, about her family, about her language. Lena would listen, and then she would look away. It was as if she did not want to remember. Anna, the youngest, was the one who connected with Lena most easily. Anna was not afraid of new things. She did not care that Lena was different. She just liked her. She would run up to her and hold her hand. She would ask Lena to play with her. Lena would smile, and sometimes she would play. Those moments were rare, but they were precious. Thomas and Martha began to notice how much Lena was helping them. Their farm slowly improved. The crops began to grow a little better. The house was cleaner, the children were fed more regularly. It was clear that Lena was not only working hard, but also helping the family survive. Still, Thomas could not stop thinking about the fact that Lena was not free. He could see her sadness in small moments. He could see it when she stared at the horizon. He could see it when she held her hands together tightly, as if she was holding something inside. One evening after dinner, Thomas sat on the porch and watched the sky turn dark. Lena was inside, cleaning the dishes. Thomas felt a strange pull in his heart. He wanted to talk to her, but he did not know how. He wanted to ask her about her life, but he was afraid of hurting her. Martha sat beside him and noticed his silence. "You have been thinking about her a lot," she said softly. Thomas nodded. "I do not know her story," he said, "and I feel like I should." Martha looked at him. "You accepted her because you needed help," she said. "But you did not think about what she needed." Thomas sighed. "I know," he said. "I did not think. I only saw our hunger. I only saw our struggle." Martha reached out and touched his hand. "Maybe it is not too late," she said. "Maybe you can still do something." Thomas did not answer right away. He did not know what he could do. He was a simple man. He did not have power. He did not have money. He only had his family and his land. That night, Thomas could not sleep. He kept thinking about Lena's eyes. He remembered the way she looked at the sky. He remembered the way she cared for his children. He wondered if she had ever been happy. He wondered if she would ever be free again. The next morning, Thomas decided to try something. He wanted to give Lena a small gift, something that might make her feel a little more human. He thought about what he could offer. He had little money. He did not have many things to give. Then he remembered a small piece of cloth he had saved. It was soft and blue, and it had been a gift from his mother many years ago. It was not valuable, but it was special. He wrapped it carefully and took it to Lena. He found her outside, near the garden. She was sitting quietly, her hands resting on her knees. She looked up when she saw Thomas. Thomas held out the cloth. "This is for you," he said. "It is not much, but it is something." Lena looked at the cloth and then at Thomas. She did not speak. She reached out and took it. She held it close to her chest for a moment. Then she looked up and nodded. Thomas felt a small warmth in his chest. It was not a big thing, but it was a beginning. Over the next few weeks, Lena began to show small signs of change. She still worked hard, but she began to smile more often. She began to talk to the children more, even started to teach them a few words in her language. Sarah was excited. "She is teaching us," she said one day. "She is teaching us her words." James was also excited. "What does this mean?" he asked, pointing to a word Lena wrote in the dirt. Lena looked at him and smiled. She pointed to the word and then pointed to her heart. She was trying to show him that the word meant heart or love. James did not understand completely, but he felt the meaning in her gesture. Martha watched these moments quietly. She felt a strange mix of emotions. She was happy to see Lena's spirit returning, but she also felt worried. She knew that the world outside their home was not kind. She knew that if Lena's true identity was discovered, it could bring trouble. One afternoon, Thomas was working in the field when he heard the sound of a horse approaching. He looked up and saw a man riding toward the homestead. The man was not the same officer who had brought Lena. This man looked older and wore a serious expression. Thomas felt a sudden sense of worry. The man stopped at the edge of the field and called out, "Thomas Hale?" Thomas walked toward him. "Yes," he said. "Who are you?" The man introduced himself as Sheriff Martin, the local lawman. He was known for being strict and serious. He looked at Thomas carefully, as if he was trying to read his thoughts. "I have heard a report," Sheriff Martin said. "There is an Apache woman living on your property." Thomas felt his heart beat faster. "Yes," he said. "She is helping us." Sheriff Martin nodded slowly. "I need to ask you some questions," he said. "This is not something to take lightly. There are rules. There are laws." Thomas felt a wave of fear. He had not thought about the law. He had only thought about survival. The sheriff asked about Lena's origin. Thomas explained that she had been brought by a cavalry officer and that she was working for them. He did not mention any other details. Sheriff Martin listened and then said, "I will be watching. If there are any problems, I will need to take action." Thomas nodded. He felt trapped. He felt like he had stepped into a situation that was larger than his family. After the sheriff left, Thomas returned to the house and sat down. He felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. He looked at Lena as she worked in the kitchen. He realized that she was not only a worker, she was a person who could be taken away at any moment. That night, Thomas called Martha to the porch. He spoke quietly so the children would not hear. "We need to be careful," he said. "The sheriff knows about Lena. He may come back. We must be ready." Martha nodded. "What can we do?" she asked. Thomas looked out at the dark land. "We must trust Lena," he said. "We must be honest with her. She may know more than we think." Martha looked at him with concern. "What if she does not want to stay?" she asked. Thomas sighed. "Then we will have to let her go," he said. "We will have to do what is right." Lena did not know about the sheriff's visit, but she sensed the tension in the air. She could feel that something was changing. She could feel the fear in Thomas and Martha's voices. She could feel the worry in the children's actions. One evening, as Lena sat by the fire, she thought about her past. She remembered her home. She remembered her family. She remembered the sounds of her people singing. She remembered the smell of the earth after rain. She remembered her father's voice. Her thoughts were interrupted by a quiet sound. She looked up and saw Thomas watching her. Thomas sat down beside her. He did not speak at first. He simply looked at her. Then he said, "I want to know who you are." Lena looked at him. She was surprised. She did not expect him to ask. Thomas continued, "I know you are not just a worker. Pennant.
I know you have a story. I want to hear it."
If you do not want to tell me, I understand. But I want you to know that I respect you." Lena's eyes filled with tears. She did not cry often, but now the tears came slowly down her cheeks. She looked at Thomas and nodded. She began to speak, slowly, in broken English. She told him about her life before. She told him about her family and her village. She told him about her father, who was a leader. She told him about the day she was taken. Thomas listened carefully. He felt his heart break with every word. He realized that Lena's life had been filled with fear and loss. He realized that he had not truly understood her pain. When she finished, Thomas did not speak for a long time. He simply sat there, holding her hand. Then he said, "I am sorry." Lena nodded. She did not need more words. She understood his meaning. Thomas knew that the future was uncertain. He knew that the sheriff's visit was only the beginning. He knew that Lena's story was not finished. But he also knew something else. He knew that Lena was no longer just a stranger. She was part of their family. And that meant that Thomas would have to make a choice that could change everything. Thomas woke up before dawn, as he always did. The air was cool and quiet. The land looked calm, but Thomas knew it was only calm on the surface. He could feel the tension in the world around him. The previous night's conversation with Lena had changed something inside him. He could no longer look at her as a helper. He had to see her as a person with a history and a family. He went outside and stood by the fence. He watched the sky slowly turn light. He could hear the birds beginning to sing. It was a normal morning, but Thomas knew it was not normal for him. His thoughts were heavy. He wondered what would happen if the sheriff returned. He wondered what would happen if Lena's family came looking for her. He went back inside and found Martha in the kitchen. She was preparing breakfast. She looked tired, but she tried to hide it. "Good morning," she said softly. Thomas nodded. "Morning," he replied. "We need to talk." Martha paused. "About what?" Thomas looked at her. "About Lena," he said. "About her family. About what we should do." Martha set down the spoon she was holding. "What do you want to do?" she asked. Thomas sighed. "I want to protect her," he said. "But I also want to protect our family. I do not know how to do both." Martha looked at him with concern. "Maybe we should ask her," she said. "Maybe she can tell us what she wants." Thomas nodded. "Yes," he said. "We should." Later that day, after the chores were done, Thomas called Lena to the porch. She came slowly, her hands still showing signs of work. She sat down beside him. Thomas could see the tiredness in her eyes. He spoke gently. "Lena," he said, "I want to know what you want." Lena looked at him for a moment. She seemed surprised by the question. She had been treated like a worker for so long that she did not expect anyone to ask her what she wanted. She took a deep breath and spoke slowly. "I want to go home," she said. "But I am scared." Thomas nodded. He understood. "Are you afraid of leaving?" he asked. Lena nodded. "Yes," she said. "I do not know what will happen. I do not know if my people will forgive me. I do not know if I can be safe." Thomas felt a sharp pain. He wanted to reach out and hold her, but he did not want to make her uncomfortable. He simply listened. Lena continued, "I am not sure if I belong anywhere. I am not sure if I can be with the settlers. I am not sure if I can be with my people." Thomas thought about her words. He realized how lonely she must feel. He realized that she was trapped between two worlds. She was not accepted fully by either side. Martha joined them quietly. She sat down beside Thomas. She looked at Lena with kindness. "We want you to be safe," she said. "We want you to be happy." Lena looked at Martha and nodded. She seemed grateful, but there was still a sadness in her eyes. That afternoon, Thomas and Martha decided to talk to the children. They did not want to scare them, but they wanted them to understand that Lena was not just a helper. She was a person. They gathered the children in the living room. The children sat quietly, sensing that something serious was happening. Thomas spoke carefully. "Children," he said, "Lena is not just here to help us. She is part of our family now. She has a family of her own. She is the daughter of a leader. She was taken away from her home." The children looked at Lena with wide eyes. They had never imagined that she had such a life. They had never imagined that she had a father who was important. They did not know what to say. Sarah spoke first. "Oh, so she is not really our servant?" she asked. Thomas shook his head. "No," he said. "She is not. She is a person. She deserves respect." James looked confused. "But she is different," he said. "She is not like us." Martha smiled gently. "Different does not mean less," she said. "Different means we can learn from each other." Anna looked at Lena and smiled. She reached out and took Lena's hand. Lena smiled back, and for a moment, the room felt lighter. After that day, the family began to treat Lena differently. They still needed her help, but they began to include her in their conversations. They began to ask her how she was feeling. They began to show her kindness in small ways. However, the outside world was not kind. Rumors began to spread in the small town. People started talking about the Apache woman living with the Hales. Some people said it was wrong. Some people said it was dangerous. Others were simply curious. One day, Thomas heard a group of men talking near the fence. He could not hear everything, but he could hear enough to know that they were discussing Lena. He should not keep her, one man said. "She is dangerous," another said. Thomas felt his anger rise. He knew that the men were wrong. He knew that Lena was not dangerous. He knew that she was a person who had been through too much. But he also knew that he could not fight everyone. He knew that he had to be careful. He knew that if the wrong people found out, it could cause trouble. That night, Thomas sat with Lena by the fire. He could see the worry in her eyes. He could feel her fear. "Do you hear them?" he asked. Lena nodded. "Yes," she said. "I hear them." Thomas looked at her. "They are wrong," he said. "They do not know you. They do not know your story." Lena sighed. "I know," she said. "But I am tired. I am tired of being watched. I am tired of being judged." Thomas felt his heart ache. He wished he could make everything better. He wished he could protect her from the world. The next day, the sheriff returned. This time, he came with a calm but serious expression. He looked at Thomas and then at Lena. He spoke quietly. "I have received more reports," he said. "People are talking. They are worried. I need to know the truth." Thomas stood up. "I have told you the truth," he said. "She is helping us. She was brought here. She is not a threat. Sheriff Martin looked at Lena and then back at Thomas. She is the chief's daughter, he said quietly. I have heard this. I need to know if it is true. Thomas felt his body tense. He had hoped that no one would know. He had hoped that Lena could stay safe. Lena looked at the sheriff. She did not speak at first. She looked at Thomas, as if asking for permission. Thomas nodded slightly. Lena took a deep breath and spoke. It is true, she said. My father is a leader. He is a chief. The sheriff nodded. Then you must understand, he said, that this is serious. Your presence here could cause problems. We need to decide what to do. Thomas felt his heart sink. He knew that the sheriff was not only thinking about the law, he was thinking about what other people would do. He was thinking about fear. Lena looked at Thomas. Her eyes were calm, but there was sadness inside them. I do not want to cause trouble, she said softly. I only want to be free. Thomas looked at her and felt a sudden determination. He realized that he could not let fear control him. He realized that he had to stand up for what was right. He turned to the sheriff and said, She is not a threat. She is a person. She has been through enough. If you want to take her away, you will have to take her away from our family. The sheriff looked at Thomas with surprise. He did not expect Thomas to speak so strongly. I will think about it, the sheriff said. But you must understand that this is not your decision alone. The sheriff left, leaving Thomas and Lena standing in the quiet yard. The air felt heavy. Thomas knew that the future was uncertain. He knew that the world outside their home was watching. Lena looked at Thomas, and she did not speak. She simply nodded. Thomas knew that she was grateful. He also knew that she was scared. That night, Thomas sat alone. He thought about his family. He thought about Lena. He thought about the children's future. He thought about what it meant to be a good person in a world that often punished kindness. He knew that he had to make a choice. He could either protect his family by hiding the truth, or he could protect Lena by being honest and brave. Thomas did not know which choice was right, but he knew that he could not ignore the truth anymore. He knew that he had to face the consequences, whatever they might be. And as he looked out into the dark night, he realized that the real struggle was not only about the land or the law, it was about trust, respect, and the courage to do what was right. The next morning, Thomas woke up feeling heavier than usual. The air felt colder, even though the sun was shining. He could hear the children moving inside the house, but he did not feel any joy. His thoughts were loud and restless. He had spent the night thinking about the sheriff's words and about Lena's truth. He had also been thinking about what Lena had said, about being caught between two worlds. He got up and walked outside. He stood by the fence and looked over the land. The crops were growing slowly, but they were still growing. He felt a small sense of hope. But the hope was mixed with fear. He did not know what would happen if Lena was taken away, did not know what would happen if the town turned against them. He went back inside and found Martha already awake. She was making tea. She looked at Thomas and nodded, as if she could feel his worry. Any news? She asked quietly. Thomas shook his head. No, he said. But I feel like something is coming. Martha sighed.
I feel it too, she said. We must prepare. Thomas nodded.
We must talk to Lena, he said. We must know what she wants. They called Lena to the porch. She came as always, quietly and calmly. She sat down beside Martha. Thomas could see the sadness in her eyes. She looked tired. He wondered how many nights she had spent thinking about her life and her choices. Thomas spoke gently. "Lena," he said, "we need to know what you want. We cannot decide for you."
"We want you to be safe." Lena looked at Thomas.
She seemed surprised again. She had not expected to be asked so many times. But she understood that Thomas was trying to be kind. "I want to go home," she said. "But I am afraid." Martha nodded. "What are you afraid of?" she asked. Lena looked down at her hands. "I am afraid that my people will not accept me," she said. "I am afraid they will think I chose to stay with the settlers. I am afraid they will think I forgot them." Thomas listened carefully. He could feel her pain. He could feel how heavy her heart was. He realized that Lena's struggle was not only about freedom, it was also about belonging. Thomas thought about what he could do. He thought about the possibility of writing a letter or speaking to someone who could help. He thought about the risk of being judged by the town. He thought about the risk of being punished by the law. He looked at Martha. "Maybe we can find someone who can help," he said. "Someone who understands both worlds." Martha nodded. "Maybe," she said. "But who?" Thomas thought for a moment. Then he remembered something. He remembered an old man who lived on the edge of town. The old man was known for helping people. He had lived among the Apache for many years and had learned their language. People said he was wise and fair. Thomas decided to visit the old man. He told Martha his plan, and she agreed. They needed help. They needed guidance. That afternoon, Thomas and Martha walked to the old man's house. It was a small cabin with a garden. The old man was sitting outside, carving a piece of wood. He looked up when they approached. "Thomas Hale," the old man said. "It has been a long time." Thomas nodded. "We need your help," he said. "We have an Apache woman living with us. She is the chief's daughter. We do not know what to do." The old man's eyes widened. He looked serious. "That is a difficult situation," he said. "But it is not impossible." Thomas explained everything. He explained how Lena had been brought to their home. He explained how she had worked for them, bale and towed. He explained how they had learned her truth. He explained how the sheriff was watching. The old man listened quietly. He did not interrupt. When Thomas finished, the old man took a deep breath. "You have done something rare," he said. "You have treated her with respect. That is not common." Thomas felt a small relief. "What should we do?" he asked. The old man looked at him carefully. "You must do what is right," he said. "You must help her return to her people, but you must do it carefully. You must show that you are not hiding her. You must show that you respect her family." Thomas nodded. "How?" he asked. The old man thought for a moment. "You should write a letter," he said. "A letter to the chief. Explain everything. Tell him that she was taken and that you kept her safe. Tell him that you want to return her. Ask for forgiveness." Thomas looked surprised. "But how will we send the letter?" he asked. The old man smiled. "There are people who travel between the settlements and the Apache villages," he said. "You must find someone who can deliver it. Someone who is trusted." Thomas felt the weight of the task. He had never written a letter like that. He did not know the chief's name. He did not know the right words, but he also knew that he had to try. He thanked the old man and returned home. He told Martha what the old man had said. Martha looked at him with a mixture of hope and fear. "We will do it," she said. "We must try." That night, Thomas sat at the small table and wrote the letter. He wrote slowly, carefully, choosing each word. He wrote about Lena's situation. He wrote about his family's struggle. He wrote about his respect for the Apache people. He wrote about his desire to do what was right. When he finished, he read the letter out loud to Martha. She nodded. "It is good," she said. "It is honest." The next morning, Thomas took the letter to the old man. The old man read it and nodded. "It is good," he said. "Now we must find someone to deliver it." They did not have to wait long. A traveler passed through town the next day. He was a messenger who carried goods and messages between the settlements. He was known for being honest and careful. Thomas spoke to him and asked if he could deliver the letter. The messenger looked at the letter and then at Thomas. "This is serious," he said, "but I will do it. I will deliver it." Thomas felt a sense of hope. He felt that perhaps things could be different. He felt that perhaps Lena could return home safely. But hope was fragile. The world outside their home was still full of fear and misunderstanding. The sheriff was still watching. The town was still talking. That night, Thomas and Martha gathered the family. They spoke quietly. They told the children that Lena might leave soon. They explained that she had a family who loved her. They explained that they had to be respectful. The children were sad. They had grown attached to Lena. They had come to see her as a sister, not as a servant. They did not want her to leave. Sarah spoke first. "I will miss her," she said softly. James nodded. "Me too," he said. Anna began to cry. She hugged Lena tightly. Lena hugged her back. The children did not understand everything, but they understood love. Lena looked at them with tears in her eyes. She felt a deep sadness. She did not want to leave them, but she also did not want to stay and cause trouble. She felt torn. That night, Lena sat by the fire and thought about her life. She thought about her father. She thought about her people. She thought about the children. She thought about the Hales. She thought about the future. She realized that she had been given something rare. She had been given a chance to live in a place where she was safe. She had been given a chance to be treated with respect. She had been given a chance to see that not all settlers were cruel. But she also realized that she could not stay. She could not live as a secret. She could not live as someone who belonged to two worlds and to no one at the same time. She stood up and walked to Thomas. She looked at him and said, "Thank you." "You are welcome," he said. "We will miss you." Lena looked at Martha. "You are kind," she said. "Thank you for your kindness." Martha smiled. "You are part of our family," she said. "You always will be." Lena nodded. She looked at the children one last time. She smiled at them, and then she went to bed. Thomas lay awake for a long time. He thought about the letter. He thought about the future. He thought about the choice he had made. He wondered if he had done the right thing. The next day, the messenger left with the letter. Thomas watched him ride away. He felt a strange mixture of fear and hope. He knew that the future was uncertain. He knew that he had done what he believed was right. And as he watched the messenger disappear into the distance, Thomas realized that the real turning point was not the letter or the journey. It was the moment when he chose to act with courage and respect, even when the world was full of fear. Days went by after the messenger left. Thomas watched the horizon every morning, hoping to see a returned rider with news. The land felt quiet, almost too quiet. The farm work continued, but the feeling in the air had changed. There was a sense of waiting, like the world was holding its breath. Martha tried to keep the children busy. She taught Sarah how to sew, and she taught James how to care for the animals. She tried to keep their minds away from sadness. But the children could feel that something was missing. Lena was not there to laugh with them, to help them, or to teach them small words from her language. Thomas tried to act normal. He worked in the fields, repaired the fence, and kept the house in order. But his thoughts kept returning to Lena. He wondered how she was feeling. He wondered if she was safe. He wondered if the chief had received the letter. The days turned into weeks. Still, there was no word. Thomas began to worry. He began to wonder if the messenger had been delayed. He began to wonder if the letter had been lost. He began to wonder if they had made a mistake. One afternoon, as Thomas was working near the garden, he saw a rider approaching. At first, he thought it might be the messenger, but the rider was not the same. This rider wore different clothes, and his face looked familiar. Thomas felt his heart beat faster. The rider stopped near the fence and called out, "Thomas Hale!" Thomas walked toward him. "Who are you?" he asked. The rider smiled. "I am the messenger," he said. "I have returned." Thomas felt a rush of relief. "Do you have news?" he asked. The messenger nodded. "Yes," he said. "I delivered the letter. The chief received it. He has replied." Thomas's heart raced. He could not believe it. He felt hope and fear at the same time. "What did he say?" he asked. The messenger took a deep breath. "He said he will come," he said. "He wants to meet you." Thomas felt his stomach tighten. He had not expected this. He had not expected the chief to come himself. He wondered what the meeting would be like. He wondered if the chief would be angry. He wondered if the chief would forgive them. The messenger continued. He said he will bring Lena with him. Thomas felt a mix of emotions. He was happy, but he was also afraid. He was happy that Lena would be safe and that she would return to her people. But he was afraid of what the meeting would mean for his family. He was afraid that the chief might blame them for taking Lena. He was afraid that the town would react badly. Thomas thanked the messenger and went inside to tell Martha. She listened carefully, her eyes wide with emotion. "He is coming," she whispered. Thomas nodded. "Yes," he said. "He is coming with Lena." Martha took a deep breath. She looked at Thomas and said, "We must prepare." They spent the next days cleaning the house and preparing food. They wanted to show respect to the chief. They wanted to make sure everything was perfect. They also wanted to prepare the children. They wanted the children to understand that the chief was important and that they should be respectful. When the day finally arrived, the family waited outside. The children stood quietly, holding their mother's hands. Thomas stood near the fence, his heart pounding. He could see the dust in the distance. He could see riders approaching. As they came closer, Thomas saw a group of people. The riders were dressed in traditional clothing. They looked strong and proud. Thomas felt a deep respect for them. He felt a sense of fear, but it was mixed with a new understanding. At the front of the group was a tall man with a calm face. He looked older, but his eyes were sharp. Thomas knew immediately that this was the chief. He had a quiet presence that made the air feel different. He looked at Thomas and nodded slightly. Lena rode beside him. She looked different now. She looked more confident. Her face was calm, but her eyes held a deep strength. When she saw Thomas, she smiled slightly. Thomas felt his heart warm. He had missed her more than he had realized. The chief dismounted and walked toward Thomas. Thomas stepped forward and bowed slightly as a sign of respect. The chief did not bow, but he nodded. Thomas spoke first. "Chief," he said, "thank you for coming." The chief looked at Thomas and then at Martha. He spoke slowly, in English, with a calm voice. "I received your letter," he said. "I know you kept my daughter safe." Thomas felt his eyes fill with tears. We did not know who she was at first, he said, but once we knew, we wanted to do what was right. The chief nodded. You have shown respect, he said. That is rare. Thomas felt a sense of relief. He had feared the chief would be angry. But the chief's voice was not angry. It was calm and wise. The chief then turned to Lena. He looked at her with a deep look, as if he was trying to understand what she had been through. Lena stepped forward and bowed slightly. Father, she said softly. The chief nodded. You are safe now, he said. You have been brave. Lena looked at her father and felt a sense of peace. She had been worried that she would not be welcomed. She had been worried that her people would be angry, but now she felt a calm feeling inside her. The chief then looked at Thomas and Martha again. He spoke, I will not blame you. You did what you could. You showed kindness. Thomas felt his chest loosen. He had been carrying fear for weeks. Now he felt like a weight had been lifted. The chief continued, But you must understand something. My daughter belongs to my people. She must return with us. Thomas nodded. We understand, he said. We will not stop her. The chief then turned to Lena and spoke softly. You have learned much, he said. You have seen another world. You must decide what you want. Lena looked at her father. She took a deep breath. I want to live with my people, she said, but I will never forget the kindness you showed me. The chief nodded. Then you will come home, he said. Thomas felt tears in his eyes. He felt both sadness and happiness. He was sad because Lena would leave, but he was happy because she would be safe and free. The chief then spoke to the family. You have taught your children kindness, he said. They have learned to respect others. Martha smiled. We tried, she said softly. The chief nodded. It is enough, he said. It is enough. The group stayed for a short time. They shared food and talked quietly. The children listened carefully, trying to understand. They were nervous, but they also felt honored to meet the chief. When it was time to leave, Lena hugged the children. She hugged Anna tightly. She hugged Sarah and James. She looked at Thomas and Martha and smiled. Thank you, she said. I will never forget you. Thomas nodded. We will never forget you, he said. Lena mounted her horse and rode beside her father. The group began to move away. Thomas watched them until they disappeared into the distance. After they left, the family returned to the house. The children were quiet. They felt the emptiness of Lena's absence. Thomas sat down and looked at the land. He felt a deep sense of change. Martha sat beside him. She reached for his hand. Do you think we did the right thing? She asked. Thomas nodded slowly. Yes, he said. We did what we could. We showed respect. We learned something. Martha leaned her head on his shoulder. I will miss her, she said softly. Thomas nodded. Me too, he said. But I am glad she is safe. The next days were quiet. Life returned to its usual routine. The farm work continued. The children went to school. The house was busy again. But something had changed. The family had grown in a way they could not see. Thomas noticed that his children treated others with more kindness. They were more open and respectful. They spoke about Lena often. They remembered her words. They remembered her smile. Thomas also noticed a change in himself. He had learned that kindness could be stronger than fear. He had learned that doing the right thing was not always easy, but it was always worth trying. He had learned that a person's worth was not decided by their background, but by their heart. Years later, when Thomas told the story to his children, he always said the same thing. We did not save Lena. She saved us. And the family remembered Lena not as a servant, but as a brave woman who changed their lives. They remembered her as the chief's daughter, who taught them that respect and kindness could build a bridge between two worlds.